So at least for that had affected individuals in the country. So even the country generally. So it's
anyway, because better days we hope lie ahead for us. The Punch, the Guardian, the Premium Times, the pen pushing newspapers, the Tribune. Those are some of the options available to us this morning. Quite a number of headlines to look out for this morning. Very quickly, let's mention some of those headlines and take our very first break on the program and return to talk about them. Nigeria records 675 new COVID-19 cases. Total now 71,344 is on the Tribune. This morning, that has to be the highest in a very, very long time. Nigeria records 675 new COVID cases. Total now 71,344 is on the Tribune. This morning, the Guardian and the Premium Times, they also have the report. As far as the latest numbers reported by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, is right there on those dailies, the Tribune, the Guardian, the Premium Times with those reports. There's some other reports on the Tribune this morning. Yakubu resumes at INEC. 6 quick passage of amended Electoral Act, says CVR to commence 2021. That's on the Tribune this morning. Because the INEC boss returning for a second time of 5 years in office is on the Tribune this morning. Families, economies have collapsed. COVID-19 cases are increasing. That's according to the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. Isolation treatment centers to reopen. According to the Health Minister, Osage Hanere, tells you the situation. A number of people are asking, are we in that second wave already? Well, we'll wait for, we don't know, but families, economies have collapsed. COVID-19 cases are increasing. That's according to the PTF. It's on the Tribune this morning. COVID-19, Buratai won't be available to receive guests at son's wedding on Friday, says Ami. That's also on the Tribune this morning. 2023 presidency. Jonathan, others stand a chance with PDP. That's according to the chairperson of the party, Prisuche Secondus. That's on the Tribune as well this morning. States cash crunch worsens. NLC opposes borrowing pension funds is on the Punch this morning. Minister Buratai, others go into isolation as GOC dies is also on the Punch this morning talking about COVID-19. Well, I was talking about the second wave. COVID-19 second wave. FG orders isolation centers reopening is on the Punch this morning as well. There's so many. Nigeria's response to religious violence poor. That's according to the United States. We will hold Buhari to his promise on briefing. That's according to the House of Representatives. Of course, they resumed plenary yesterday with the president not inside. A number of people have been talking about it. There were already indications that the president wasn't going to be at that plenary. ASU spent 1,500 days on strike in 21 years. Is a report on the Punch this morning. Some people have apparently totaled the number of days ASU have been away from the classrooms. The Guardian, police arrest kidnappers of American citizen rescued by U.S. forces is on the Guardian this morning. PDP can't decide on 2023 now. Secondus declares. Labour vows to resist borrowing from pension funds is also on the Guardian this morning. Lagos-Ibadan rail service is costly. Unfriendly takeoff. That's another report on the Guardian. You might want to check that report. There were a number of discussions during the week as when some revelations were made about the Lagos-Ibadan rail. National Assembly versus Buhari, Nigerian Constitution on trial. Lawyers insist is on the Guardian as well this morning. You find this on the Premium Times. Malami under fire for saying National Assembly lacks power to summon Buhari. SEC opposes Nigerian government's move to manage unclaimed dividends of shareholders. There's also Nigerian Army General dies of COVID-19. That's on the Premium Times. Maina, who allegedly stole billions of pension funds, collapses in court. Is also on the Premium Times this morning. Some have said it appears like a go-to script as far as court cases are concerned. The pen pushing newspapers also with our report, but they have this one. Coronavirus claims life of general in Nigeria Army is on the pen pushing newspapers. There's also Ogun State Police Assembly differ on alleged missing mace. Is on the pen pushing newspapers as well. Well, that was the initial situation. Governor Abiodun seeks partnership with Institute of Directors of Nigeria, also on the pen pushing newspapers. And then there's this one: 20-year-old herbalist arrested for alleged killing of client after collecting 300,000 naira fee. 20-year-old herbalist is on the pen pushing newspapers this morning. Quite a number of headlines to look out for. But we'll take a very quick pause and return to talk about this worrying rate of COVID-19 increase. We've been talking about it for a number of days now. The Presidential Task Force briefing returned yesterday, and one of the instructions is that isolation centers should begin to reopen in the country. We'll get into that in a moment. Don't go anywhere.
Inú ẹ̀rọ ká ṣiṣẹ́ lọ látàárọ̀ ká délé pé ká hòtẹ́ẹ̀lì àfi wẹ́lo iná bá pín. Ẹ wá máa gbọ́.
Dádì mi, wọ́n ti múná lọ. Jẹnẹrétọ̀ ò dé ṣiṣẹ́. Ẹ wá kó ṣe sí o.
Ó ọkọ mi, fún mi máa ti kú kẹ̀. Mi ò dẹ̀ ti pa àwọn oníbàárà mi tán. Àforí láti wá nǹkan ṣe sí o.
Má jẹ́ kí wàhálà náà dìbà ìgbádùn rẹ nínú ọdún tó wọlé dé yìí. Ra Lumos Solar ní owó tí ò gani lára 19,500. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni 19,500 péré ni o. Kó o sì jẹ ìgbádùn náà ní kẹlẹlẹ nínú ọdún tó dé yìí. Àǹfààní yìí wà láti November 9 dé December 31. Yára wá mú tiẹ̀ kó tó tán.
Ọkọ mi, ṣé bọ́ọ̀sì yìí ti kún ṣá? Ṣé ìyá awakọ̀ ló jókòó sí? Ó yá pé nọ́mbà ọkọ̀ yẹn fún mi.
Màámi, ẹ má ṣe yọnu.
Dá mi lóhùn o jàre. Ó dá tí ẹ ṣe fídíò kọ̀ pàápàá kí n rá awakọ̀ yín ọ̀hún.
Kò lè tó yẹn màámi. Ṣùgbọ́n o màámi, ẹ̀yin náà má ti mọ bó ṣe lọ gan ni kẹ̀. Fídíò call kẹ̀.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kẹ́, àtìgbà tí mo ti bọ́ sórí òpó ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ Airtel ni mo ti ń gba dátà lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ nígbàkúgbà tí ń bá rówó ìpè tí pè mí nílẹ̀ yá àti sókè òkú sì ti di kọ́bọ̀ mọ́kànlá péré fún ìṣẹ́jú àáyá kan.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o, máa bọ̀ lórí òpó ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ Airtel lónìí kí wọn náà bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí gbádùn gbogbo ìpè rẹ ní kọ́bọ̀ mọ́kànlá fún ìṣẹ́jú àáyá kan pẹ̀lú dátà ọ̀fẹ́ ní gbogbo ìgbà tó bá ra owó ìpè. Wàá sì tún gbádùn ìlọ́po méjì dátà fún oṣù mẹ́ta lórí àtẹ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ tó ní agbára 4G tó gbòòrò jùlọ. Ó ní ìlànà àti òfin o.
Wọ́n sọ fún awakọ̀ yẹn kó ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ jàre.
Màámi,
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Thank you for staying with us. It's freshly pressed this Friday morning on Fresh 107.9 FM at Abeokuta. Remember, you can be a part of the discussion at Fresh FM at Abeokuta on Twitter. If you're watching live on Facebook, drop your contributions via that avenue. We'll get to them in a moment. I will talk to you via the phone lines later on the program. Mr. Ideano is with us this morning. Let's get straight to it. The number of COVID-19 cases continue to rise in the country. Yesterday saw the report of new 675 cases by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. The total number of cases so far reported in the country now stands at 71,344. That's total number of cases reported in the country. The 675 new cases, just as the trend has been in the last couple of days, the FCT at the highest 183, Lagos 128, Kaduna 85, Kwara 57, Katsina 50, Plateau 42, Rivers 39, Kano 33, Ondo 21, Ogun 17, Bauchi 10, Sokoto 5, Edo 2, while the trio of Ekiti, Bios and Delta had 1 each. The number of people that have died from the virus also increased by 6 in the latest report, because 1,190 people have died of the virus in the country. 65,474 people have recovered. The number of active cases in the country gradually going up again. 4,680. That's the number of active cases in the country now. And yesterday, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 resumed their briefing. It's on many of the dailies this morning. COVID-19 second wave, federal government orders isolation centers reopening. It's also on the Tribune this morning as well. Families' economies have collapsed. COVID-19 cases are increasing. That's according to the Tribune. Comes with the rider, isolation treatment centers to reopen. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 pandemic has observed that the impact of the virus has caused economies of families to collapse, resulting in mental health issues during drug use and gender-based violence. Chairman of the task force and SGF, Boss Mustafa, who made the assertion at a media briefing in Abuja on Thursday, revealed that the PTF had been working with relevant stakeholders on the issues arising from the impact of COVID-19. He said, I quote, "These include the mental health, drug use, and gender-based violence. This morning, I joined the Christian Association of Nigeria to launch the campaign against gender-based violence, particularly triggered by COVID-19. It is true that families' economies have collapsed, jobs were lost, mental health issues have arisen, some persons have taken to drugs, and rape has escalated. The solution is to exercise enormous self-restraint, vigilance, and the PTF urges citizens should take advantage of the mental health programs nearest to them." I said in Abuja, for example, the FMC in Jabi is a facility to visit. Well, there are a number of them scattered around the country. Further down that story, the PTF chairman expressed regrets that Nigerians, particularly some faith-based organizations, have continued to hold events of large gatherings capable of spreading the virus. The PTF therefore urged all subnational entities that signed the protocols with this organization and have primary responsibility for enforcing the protocols, saying they should set up their rules of enforcement. The health minister revealed that Nigeria must prepare for a possible second wave of COVID-19 infections. It says towards this end, he has directed all isolation and treatment centers that were closed to prepare to reopen. Of course, he gave the numbers as of yesterday, not as of yesterday night. Well, it goes on and on. It's on the Tribune this morning. The Punch also, they have that report. COVID-19 second wave. Federal government orders isolation centers reopening. Is on the Punch this morning. For the federal government, they are warning that the country is on the verge of a second wave of the pandemic. Because some other people would ask, when do we say we are officially in a second wave? Because when you look at the daily cases that we've recorded, say this week, I'm not sure there's been any week with so many cases. In fact, some were saying last week had the highest number of cases. I bet by the time the tally is done, by the time the figures are tallied, this week would have been the highest as far as the weekly data from the NCDC is concerned.
Some doctors and even John Hopkins, argue that it's just still the first wave that the whole world is witnessing. But let's look at the statistics in the U.S. Yesterday, nearly 3,000 people died, and that's 2,977. And that means every 10 seconds, an American dies. And in fact, the number of deaths already has surpassed the entire people that were killed during 9/11. And good, even the same thing in France now. France has shut all its restaurants, theaters, and cinemas and what have you. I'm saying this so that Nigerians can learn a lot from it. Boss Mustafa said church-based organizations. Well, religion is the opium of the people, so that's the reason why he's not direct, saying a particular church. But if you watch television these days, there is a particular church that is running its convention, and no single person across the board. In fact, there are people came from Beirut, came from everywhere, Belarus and what have you. Now, no single person is putting on a face mask there. Large gathering. That's what Boss Mustafa is talking about. Whether first wave continue or second wave, I think we've been very laggard, in following these non-pharmaceutical protocols. We are behaving as if nothing is happening, that this thing is over. But as far as the figures are concerned, nothing is over. Maybe what government should do is to start all over again, this sensitization, going through the media, interfacing with the traditional media and what have you. But it's here with us. There's nothing anybody can do. We are lucky.
Some have also spoken about the enforcement of these measures. Remember, that was something we spoke about some months back.
Exactly.
Of course, the argument was, is it a situation of we have to enforce or do we have to appeal to people's sensibilities? Some said, well, the way things work in this part of the world, you might have to enforce. And some arguing we might have to go back to those days of having to enforce face masks, having to enforce the number of people, in a taxi. Although we've done away with those, I think the instructions eventually gave that drivers a chance to do the usual arrangement. But it appears we have to go back to some of these things.
I think so.
Although individual states would have to look at their numbers and make their rules again. At the moment, the number of let me see whether I can get let me see whether I can lay fingers on the number of active cases. Yes, the FCT. As the highest, 1,523. That's the highest number of cases in the country at the moment. The FCT, then followed by Lagos with 902. The likes of Oyo, Kaduna has 369, Oyo has 339. I think Ogun has 152. Rivers and the likes, they are the ones with 100 and the likes. So yes, those are the states that have to make very quick decisions at the moment. Of course, the other states don't want cases coming in.
Yes, because they don't have the number of people, especially coming in, going out, and all that. Well, enforcement, it depends. For instance, Joe Biden is saying, once I get sworn in, 100 days, I will implore Americans, to wear the mask for 100 days. In Nigeria, some people will go to court. If you enforce it at a point in time, although it has done a lot, if you lock down or whatever, it has done a lot of havoc to our economy, and that's what Boss Mustafa is saying. But I think at family levels, at associational level, organizations and what have you, and even the media, and I think what maybe we should do, we should tell the government, to spend money, let the media do a lot of media campaign, on this thing, that this thing is real, it's real, and it's with us. And because the way we are, media houses have to survive, and government is not even putting money into all these houses, to media outfits, to at least to do concerted campaigns. Well, what we have now, most radio stations, have dropped, because I don't blame them. But if government is supporting these media houses, look at operating in an outfit. So we need this campaign. We need to take it to the markets, churches, and all that, mosques, associations. Because for now, most Nigerians don't wear the mask. They go to the streets, and it's real. It's with us. So I think government can do more by spending money, and spreading the message.
It's on the Punch, the Tribune, and a couple of other dailies this morning. Federal government orders isolation centers reopening. That's the headline on the Punch. Minister Buratai others go into isolation as GOC dies. That's on the Punch as well. Very sad development. The Tribune also talks about the plans of the chief of staff. Chief of army staff says COVID-19 Buratai won't be available to receive guests at son's wedding on Friday. That's on the Tribune this morning. Of course, the Premium Times, they also the Premium Times also with that report, Nigeria Army General dies of COVID-19. The pen pushing newspapers with the report as well this morning.
Some people have even suggested that we should do more testing. That even if you have these large gatherings, before you allow people inside those gatherings, test them. We are not testing, and I think that's the problem. If you test and you get anybody that has symptoms of it, then isolate the person, ask the person to go. We can afford not to have you in this party, like some hotels.
But do we have those arrangements? Do we have those rapid testing? We don't have rapid testing. The last time I was speaking with laboratory scientists, it was talking about at the moment we could get results in say 2 hours.
Yes,
because there are not so many people.
I think Ogun State, one state,
I know Ogun did this community testing. Lagos did as well.
Lagos did. So I think we can encourage testing. At least for people to know their status.
Anyway, the message simply is continue to obey the guidelines. Wear your face mask in public. Use your alcohol-based sanitizers. Wash your hands with soap and water. Social distancing. Thank you. Very, very crucial as well. Please protect yourselves. Protect your loved ones. Protect everybody. You'll find it on many of the dailies this morning. Very swiftly, states cash crunch worsens. NLC opposes borrowing pension funds. Is on the Punch. This morning, the Guardian says Labour vows to resist borrowing from pension funds. Comes with the riders, says only 18 states implementing minimum wage. That's on the Guardian this morning. Well, let's read in from the Guardian. The Nigeria Labour Congress has vowed to resist any attempt by state governors to borrow from pension funds. President of the NLC, Aiba Waba, who spoke in Abuja yesterday at the National Executive Council meeting of the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria, revealed that less than 5% of all states are contributing to the fund. In his words, I quote, "We will not agree for governors to dip their fingers into the pension funds. As I speak, Less than 5% of the old states of the Federation are contributing to the fund. The governors cannot reap from where they have not planted any seed. Let me sound a note of warning to the government. Any day that money is touched, every Nigerian worker will be on the street and will remain there until every kobo is returned. We will protect our hard-earned money. The money belongs to workers. We contributed that money so that when we retire, we will have something to retire to. The money is not piled up in one place, but are warehoused in the pension retirement accounts that are operated by the pension fund administrators. So it is not idling out there. If governors want to borrow money, there are guidelines that have been spelled out on how to borrow to fund infrastructural development. There is always a guarantee by the federal government before such action can be taken. WABA, who bemoaned the level of hardship in the country, disclosed that only 18 states in the country are faithfully implementing the new minimum wage. Accused the federal government of wanting to abdicate its responsibility by allowing market forces to determine the price of petroleum products and electricity tariff. It says, anywhere the price of a product is subjected to market forces, the people suffer. The primary purpose of government is the welfare of the citizens and the protection of lives and property. We have seen examples from most parts of the world where transferring public utilities to private hands have not benefited the people. The rest is on The Guardian this morning. Says Labour vows to resist borrowing from pension funds. Is also on The Punch. States cash crunch worsens. NLC opposes borrowing pension funds. The Labour president yesterday, the NLC president rather, he was saying, this is money we save for when we retire.
Yes.
You cannot just go ahead and borrow it. And, you know, I've seen the number of arguments from a number of Nigerians, especially those, of course, who are civil servants and know their money is being kept somewhere. They say, that can't be.
I think it's the Nigerian factor. Elsewhere, people borrow pension fund because the money is there, but they run it very well. They don't owe pensioners. In fact, some, despite the fact that it's contributory this time around, not every state is contributing. In fact, only 5%. Some states are now operating the federal structure to say, okay, it's our state, we don't want to be part of it for now. And you don't, so if you are not contributing, why must you go there? Elsewhere, people spend, especially when it has to do with infrastructure, you borrow the money and return it there. But in Nigeria, it doesn't happen that way. Look at the attitude of our governors. PMB, the president, on many occasions, has given the states bailout funds. What did they spend it on? And he said bailout funds, you must spend it to help the workers, to help pensioners, pay pension fund and all that. Most states didn't do it. Rather, some states went to build infrastructure, roads, bridges that they don't really need. That's the reason why NSA is saying don't borrow our money, because going by the attitude of the trajectory of our governors, they just get the money and they won't spend it on what is supposed to be spent on to create jobs, for the people. So I think I agree with
because
you.
The question of trust comes to play again.
You can't trust them. That's what I'm saying. You can't trust our governors. They don't bail out. How many times did the president give them bailout? What did they do with the bailout? And in fact, some governors are only paying the 18,000 naira, which he alluded to. Some states are not even paying the 30,000 naira. In fact, the states are broke, just like the federal government is broke, terribly broke. The Kwara State governor yesterday lamented, that they cannot even pay it now. In fact, in some states, I think Gombe, some are paying in bits, by percentages. Just take 70% of it. So the question is, what do we do if the states are broke? Now the spendthrift nature of governors is there. That is the amount of money we spend on the politicians and whatever. That one is there. But beside that is the fact that we are not running through federalism. Let's restructure everything. We have said it on many occasions. Let the state take care of. They have the mineral resources. They have the means, to generate funds and pay for the number of people they want. They can afford. Look at local governments at the receiving end. They are holding the short end of the stick now, because it's the local government and teachers are holding the short end of the stick, because governors will pay the civil servants, but they will leave the local government, because we are not running the proper local government structure. They are the nearest to the people, but they are the ones suffering most. Kwara State man said it. We are in trouble. The country is in trouble, because before you know it now, even some states will not be able to pay salaries. They said that much yesterday. I mean, in the Guardian, they said it that much. In the Punch, they said it that much. And if we are in this, isn't it time for them to really sit down
and think about where to go?
Yeah, where to go.
Apparently, there's something that hasn't been
something
working.
that can be done to make it work. Because before you know it now, state workers will go to the streets. Yes, go and look at it. Even Kano is paying 70% of it. So many states. Only 4 states can afford to pay the entire thing.
States cash crunch worsens. NLC opposes borrowing pension funds is on the Punch this morning. We'll take a very quick pause and return in a moment. Don't go anywhere.
ẹ̀yin inú ẹ̀rọ ká ṣiṣẹ́ lọ látàárọ̀ ká délé pé ká wò tẹ́lẹ̀ àfi wẹ́lò iná bá pín. ẹ wà máa gbọ́.
Dádì mi, wọ́n ti múná lọ. Jẹnẹrétọ̀ ò dé ṣiṣẹ́. Ẹ wá nǹkan ṣe sí o.
Ó ọkọ mi, fóònù mi mà ti kú kẹ̀. Mi ò dẹ̀ tí pa àwọn oníbàárà mi tán. A ní láti wá nǹkan ṣe sí o.
Má jẹ́ kí wàhálà náà dìbà ìgbádùn rẹ nínú ọdún tó wọlé dé yìí. Ra Lumos Solar ní owó tí ò gani lára 19,500. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni 19,500 péré ni o. Kó o sì jẹ ìgbádùn náà ní kẹlẹlẹ nínú ọdún tó dé yìí. Àǹfààní yìí wà láti November 9 dé December 31. Yára wá mú tiẹ̀ kó tó tán.
Abẹ́òkúta ẹ jẹ́ ká fò fáyọ̀ ìbò wọlé dé Abẹ́òkúta ẹ jẹ́ ká yọ̀ nílùú Ẹ̀gbá Academy Suite balẹ̀ bàgẹ́ sílùú Ẹ̀gbá ilé ìtura èyí àtú Ẹ̀gbá lára ìgbanilálejò tiwa ò máa lẹ́lẹ́gẹ́rẹ́ aṣíwájú lajẹ́ láti Ìbàdàn débi gbogbo àyíká tó rẹwà pẹ̀lú ìmọ́tótó tó gara swimming pool èyí ga ó ti lọ́wọ́jú yàrá àwàdà ó dùn ó àjòjì ilé ní Academy Suite l'Abẹ́òkúta ó ti lọ́wọ́jú ẹgbẹ́ Abadíyà Central Mosque Abẹ́òkúta MKO Abiola Way Lamulesi Academy Suite èyí ga ó ti lọ́wọ́jú.
Academy Suite, telephone 0817 666 6601. Academy Suite, home away from home.
When the desirable becomes unavailable, then the available becomes the desirable. Now, the desirable is here. Brought to you by Aquifer Water Technical Services. The days of installing problematic boreholes are over. Aquifer is here to make your desired dreams of installing boreholes in the most seamless, technology-facilitated way a reality. They pride themselves on high integrity and professionalism with accurate and impeccable underground water survey. Their boreholes and installations are with up-to-date technology. You can also count on them to help you maintain your borehole to make it long-lasting. All their equipments are from overseas. Do you have a borehole that is giving you issues or you want to install a new borehole? Contact Aquifer Water Technical Services today at OM68, second floor, Omida Shopping Mall, opposite Omida Market. Telephone 0803-521-9273 or 0815-568-7878. Aquifer Water Technical Services. We excel in borehole technology.
Thank you for staying with us. Freshly pressed on Fresh 107.9 FM Abeokuta, at Fresh FM Abeokuta on Twitter. That's how you get your thoughts across to us. If you're watching live on Facebook, talk to us via that avenue. Let's move on very quickly this morning. There's this report on the pen pushing newspapers. Says Ogun State Police Assembly differ on alleged missing maize. The Ogun State Police Command and the State Assembly on Thursday took different positions on the controversial missing maize, while the police confirmed stealing of the maize. The Chairman House Committee on Information, Honorable Yusuf Adejojo, denied occurrence. Permission reports that Ogun State Police Command spokesperson Abimbola Oyemi, while speaking with journalists, said the alleged hoodlums broke into the assembly through the ceiling and removed the official mace. The Chairman House Committee on Information, in his own submission, while speaking with journalists, posited that to the best of his knowledge, nothing of such happened, stressing on need for public to be careful on information being passed around. Well, that was what he said.
Yes.
But eventually, I'm sure if he had gotten a chance, he would have taken his words back and said, okay, maybe I didn't have the information at that time.
Exactly. Because
the report is that, or what the police are saying is that hoodlums went into the assembly via the ceiling, took the mace. I was listening to the speaker yesterday saying that the police went into the ceiling, they found the coat of arms.
Yes, the one containing coat of arms, they can continue.
The stick was taken away.
But
there you have it. It's on the pen pushing newspapers. Ogun State Police Assembly differ on alleged missing mace. Of course, the original situation.
I don't know what is wrong in accepting that such a thing had happened. There is nothing
Is
wrong.
it possible that he didn't have information at that time?
Is it.
Because I was in my office, I had information.
Yeah, I heard too. It's there all over the place. You know, people broke in. After all, even the one that is well protected at the National Assembly, some hoodlums went in there. In fact, they even broke and they found it under the bridge. You know, so it's there. I don't know what anybody will go in there, you know, to look for the maze. Well, you can't trust Nigerians. It may have even been arranged by members of the assembly.
Well, the speaker said there's nothing. He doesn't like think there's anything political about it. He said the house is, it's just good.
And that luckily, the one that they found is the one that they need. You know, that the broken one, the coat of arms, is the one that they need to continue with.
So they just find another.
Yes, and stick it there. You know.
Right. Well, the police say they've started investigating and will go after those who might have perpetrated the crime. 20-year-old herbalist arrested for alleged killing of client after collecting 300,000 naira fees. Also on the Pempishi newspapers. That particular report you will find on the Punch as well this morning. For you to look out for.
You know what is sad about that story? The man that was killed is an hotelier. The man has money already. But he now went to this 20-year-old boy to say, okay, I understand that I can make money through, through diabolical means, that you can give me the drug. The boy collected 250,000 naira out of 300,000. And when the guy went back to say 50,000 naira remaining, and the boy thought, if he argued with him, the best thing is to eliminate him. Gave him poison. Say, okay, this is the part of it that because the one I did for you, say it's not working. This is the final part of it, and it's sad. So the point is the lesson for us to learn. Why do people need to look for extra money? You already have an hotel at a border post. Why did you go to a 20-year-old boy? Because you need more money. What is the money?
Well, we could go on and talk about societal issues. I remember the last time on Wednesday we were talking about the anti-corruption day, and one of the points that was raised was the love for money. Love for material things, and the level we are at in our society now. Well, hopefully things will get better. Herbalist 20 arrested for Ogun Hotelier's death. That's how the Punch reports that story. The dailies still crawling with the report of the president's no-show at the House of Assembly, at the House of Representatives yesterday, because the Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, says they will be awaiting official reason or official response from the presidency as to why the president did not appear as expected, because the president, there had been indication that it was going to appear on Thursday. Loretta Anoche tweeted it, but also we also got some reports that some governors in the APC had said, well, don't go. There were also some allegations that there had been indications that the PDP caucus in the House had some interesting plans for the president.
Yes, of course.
And then there's a part of the Attorney General of the Federation who says that the National Assembly lacked the powers to summon the president to explain to them how he's using the armed forces. The Guardian, they have that report, says National Assembly versus Buhari, Nigeria Constitution on trial, lawyers insist AGF did not act in good faith, says San. Failure to appear will breach constitutional provisions. Malami is correct. Another lawyer counters. Ministers advise will ridicule you. Reps caucus tell Buhari. House leadership says it can't compel Buhari. It's on the Guardian this morning. The Premium Times also with the report. Says insecurity, Malami under fire for saying National Assembly lacks power to summon Buhari. Well, that's a carryover from the discussions yesterday and the day before. But it's on many of the dailies still talking about it.
No, we'll still continue.
The argument will go on and on. Of course, lawyers with different views, as always, as far as constitutional interpretation is concerned. You know,
so many of them. So many of
them. Some I've heard some say, well, the Constitution of the President may or shall, not shall.
May and all that. But I think the nitty-gritty of it all is that we knew, as at yesterday I knew, and I argued that much, that the president was not going to attend that, because it was not even on the order paper yesterday. But Gbajabiamila skipped it. It did not even appear on it. And the Senate is saying, we didn't invite him. But they have their own rules. That is the House of Reps. They have their own rules. And there is no concurrence. There is no joint no joint resolution. No resolution. So we are not expecting. So I knew. And in as much as the governors are saying, if you allow them, if you allow the president to go, the governors, the
state assemblies,
they are at risk. The state assemblies will continue to, hunt them. So I knew he was not going to go there. because of the experience he had sometimes when Dino Malai, some of them booed him, and he said, Nigerians, the whole world is watching us. And so we knew the president was not, I knew he was not going to go. And so nothing, it's just like a storm in a teacup, because the 43 people that were killed in Sabamari is there. And for something will happen to make us to forget that one. And so I think this is what we are witnessing now, just the shenanigans, politicians.
Anyway, there are a number of other stories. Speaking of the state assemblies are committed to achieving financial autonomy, says Speaker's chair. That's the chairman of the Conference of Speakers of State Houses of Assembly, is also the Speaker of the Bauchi House of Assembly, Honorable Abubakar Suleiman. He says that they are committed to achieving financial autonomy. It's a matter that they've been on for a while, and it goes on. It's on The Guardian this morning for you to look out for. Lagos Ibadan rail service is costly, unfriendly takeoff. Nigerians decry high fares, take a ride before you complain. NRC reacts. Government should consider social benefits, as according to the LCCI. The commercial activities of the Lagos Ibadan rail line struggles to start on Monday, but its speed is being delayed by controversy over elitist charges and concern about its commercial viability. There is also skepticism regarding its capacity to generate enough income to repay more than the $1.5 billion in debt incurred on the project. This week's inaugural commercial trip only amplified the viability question. It turned out that only one of the several thousands of Nigerians that daily plied the Ibadan-Lagos route was willing and able to buy a seat at the cost range of 3,000 naira and 6,000 naira for the 100-kilometer trip in the 100-capacity passenger train. As Nigerians wailed over what they described as restrictive fares, the Nigeria Railway Corporation announced commercial service operations on the long-awaited Lagos-Abeokuta-Ibadan standard gauge train. But the trip, which was expected to kickstart the operation of the service, many thought would give the masses a cheaper alternative to the dreaded Lagos-Ibadan road, recorded just one passenger on board. Well, for the NRC, they've been reacting to some of the things that a number of Nigerians have said, and they say, take a ride first before you complain. Some have not even seen the train, they've not even taken a ride, and they are complaining. Well, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, they are saying, some of them, of course, have praised the government, but some have also said a lot need to be looked into as far as the price and all are concerned.
Well, what is intriguing is that many of our leaders, even those who plan this thing, they travel abroad, they go to central London. The amount is very cheap. So the contest now is between the social factor, do it for social services, bring the prices down, or the market forces. And how can you bring the prices down when you even went to borrow the money? In fact, the counterpart funding for Lagos Ibadan is $1.5 billion. So how do you, and already $6.1 billion again, for Lagos, Kano, Kano, Maiduguri, and all the rest of it is borrowing. You have the federal government has to pay the money back. So there is no way it can be. But it's sad that you go by public transport, it's 1,500 naira, and you are now saying people should pay 3,000. And between, in fact, the first class is 6,000 and what have you. So we didn't really sit down. And what is funny is that is this same president in 1984 that stopped the metro in Lagos when a governor in Lagos wanted to establish the metro line. Maybe if we had started at that point in time, we would have gone far, because other states will have followed.
All right. We'll take a very quick pause. And return to hear from you. Don't go anywhere, please.
ẹ̀yin náà ẹ̀rọ ká ṣiṣẹ́ lọ látàárọ̀ ká délé pé ká wò tẹ́lẹ̀ àfi wẹ́lò iná bá pín. ẹ wà máa gbọ́.
Dádì mi wọ́n ti múná lọ. Jẹnẹrétọ̀ ò dé ṣiṣẹ́. Ẹ wá nǹkan ṣe sí o.
Ó ọkọ mi, fóònù mi mà ti kú kẹ̀. Mi ò dẹ̀ tí pa àwọn oníbàárà mi tán. A ní láti wá nǹkan ṣe sí o.
Má jẹ́ kí wàhálà àná dìbà ìgbádùn rẹ nínú ọdún tó wọlé dé yìí. Ra Lumos Solar ní owó tí ò gani lára 19,500. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni 19,500 péré ni o. Kó o sì jẹ ìgbádùn náà ní kẹlẹlẹ nínú ọdún tó dé yìí. Àǹfààní yìí wà láti November 9 dé December 31. Yára wá mú tìyẹ kó tó tán.
Ogun State shout out to the Lord 2020. My brother, my sister, come make we jam body to holler God name in this Ogbonge praise program. We go shake everywhere gidigba. Now SDK Universal Concept they call una to come shake una body and sing to the Lord. Where gospel artists go dey jabrata. So they sing Ogbonge song they give about God. Gospel artists like T.Y. Adewale aka Nagon, Ayon Jesu, Shawale Jesu and them Baladi Sa. Other gospel artists them na Lolade Adeleke, Tosin Alao, Adeyenka Alasheyori, Shegozie Wisdom, Bumi Omijo Ojumi and RCCG Praising. Every door where the devil don't close go open gidigba. As una dey carry praise give Baba God. Na Prophet Taiwo Ojo go minister for work. Na there we go dey jam body give praise to Baba God at Ogun State shout out to the Lord 2020. Date Friday 18th of December 2020. Venue Olive Event Center opposite Immigration Office Okemosan Abeokuta. Time na from 8 p.m. till dawn kelele. Ogun State shout out to the Lord 2020. Believe me, before una comot una go see the glory of Baba God.
I dey think, oh, I dey think. Where the Lord go come from? I dey think, oh, I look up, I look down, I see phone for my hand, Oh yeah. Express for express loan, na shop bank,
Hard life no dey pay anybody, That na why EcoBank land with Express Loan. Loan where everybody fit get, where they save with Express Save. Dial *326# to open your own Express Save account today on top your phone. Bang, bang, bang. You don't open am. No wahala. And with Express Save, you go fit get boku chance for Express Loan.
Express Save for express loan, na shop bank,
EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Thank you for staying with us. It's Freshly Pressed this morning. Thank you. Let's run along very quickly. Nigeria's debt getting out of control, says El Rufai. Court adjourns as minor slums. Son arrested is on the Punch as well this morning. Quite a number of them. We'll hold Buhari to promise on briefing reps. There's this other one that talks about the what's the word now? Poverty in the country. Poor Nigerians will reach 100 million by 2022. That's according to the World Bank. Let's talk to you this morning. 0815-432-1079. 0818-111-1079. Those are the numbers to call. 0815-432-1079. 0818-111-1079 at Fresh FM Abeokuta on Twitter. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes.
Wale, I'm Kayode from Abeokuta.
Mr. Kayode, quickly.
Good morning.
Yes.
Eddie.
Good morning.
God bless you, sir. You see, every topical issue you brought this morning on the papers, I think I will sum it up as where are our quality leaders? For now, I'm still awaiting one. Our quality of life depends on the quality of our leaders, but yet we are yet to have one. We have pseudo leaders, indecisive leaders. What we have are fearful leaders, not responsible to hear the cry in the nation, not responsible to hear the cry in the city or community. We are facing a lot of hardship, and some people are still saying they wanted to go and borrow from the pensions funds. Why can't they borrow from their senators who left governorship seats before after now? I think they have humongous money they can borrow from these people. Why can't they go after them? I think I don't know what to say. Should not be allowed to leave the prison. It should be attended to by health care in the facilities there. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Hello. Good morning.
Hello, Fresh Radio Station.
Good morning.
I am bakare. I'm calling from Obantoko. Mine is an observation and an advice. Wale, I had a woman that called from Lagos yesterday and advised you that, you are always doing social things in the last caller. There was a time I accused you of the same thing. That's that. Then
I'm not sure I can remember.
Then, Wale, please. You see, you are there to direct issues on your program. But why Quadri normally delve on people's opinions? You read out this your point. Let him delve on that opinion. Yes, sir.
While I appreciate your advice, you're also delving on other people's opinion now.
I know that, when he... No. That is why I'm telling you to normalize the program.
Well, the very...
Mr. Oni will, and will.
All right, Babari, we've taken note of that because of others would like to contribute to the issues on the dailies. The thing about these discussions, there is almost no way you won't have different opinions.
Yeah, of course.
And, people's opinions might sometimes be based on others' opinions. What we will not allow is for you to insult or embarrass another person because they've made their opinion known. Anyway, we hear you. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oladile calling from Abeokuta.
Talk to us, Mr. Oladile.
Yes, I think, I'm not sure whether it was President Wale that failed to attend the last invitation.
Okay.
I know President Wale always like to be there.
Okay.
He feels for the people, but I don't know what will have changed in Nasarov. People are complaining that it's not the real person, but let's leave that as it is. On the pension. Wait. Mr.
Go ahead, on the pension.
On the pension, I want these political office holders, let them be contributing to the pension fund before they can borrow. Why must they borrow? They've not even paid most of their pensioners as of today. Check throughout the country. They don't pay them now. They want to borrow again. Then they will leave office in a few years, and at the end of the day, the money will have gone down.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Right. Yes, thank you for your contributions. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Wale.
Yes.
Good morning, Professor.
Good morning.
My name is Dr. Lanre Jaji, calling from the People's Parliament in Abeokuta. Well, I was not even expecting Mr. President to go yesterday, actually, but like Professor announced, it was not even expecting him to go, but I would love a situation where Mr. President will have gone, because we need to try to empower institutions. I mean, the Senate, the reps, they are our representatives. Let him go. Let us hear what Mr. President is going to tell the whole world that, well, these are the shortcomings that we're having, these are the challenges that we're having, where we will not be able to give, proper security in the country or whatever. We need to start getting things right and, do things and let us be useful. Let me allow that to call Wale.
Thank you.
Bless you.
God bless you too. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Nicholas from Abeokuta.
Mr. Nicholas, good morning.
It's unfortunate that a 20-year-old boy now become... That boy should not be a herbalist. The herbalist is somebody who mixes plants for ailments. She's a murderer. It should be reported that he's a murderer or a witch doctor. A herbalist is one who mixes plants for ailments to be treated. And it's unfortunate, if that man, that's hotelier, he should be investigated. It is possible. For such a man that has such amount to still look for more. It shows the level. That problem is not from the presidency. Secondly, it's unfortunate that Shaggy, who gave his life for legal academics, is saying that the president, that the House lacks the ability to summon the president, and comparing it to the British Parliament. The British system is not the Nigerian system.
No.
The Queen, in fact, Nigeria should leave that Commonwealth of Nations. India has left. Then this speaker and this Senate president cannot summon our president.
All right. Have a nice day. All right, Mr. Nicholas. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Yes, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes.
My name is Smart. I'm calling from Lambeth.
Go ahead.
Please, on that pension fund, please, they should not give out cover to anybody as loan, because they have not even borrowed now. They've not been able to pay pensioners. Talk less of when they borrow. They will now, the pension will now say the debtors have not paid them back. So don't cause crisis at the old age, Joe.
All right, thank you very much. Okay. Well, anyway, let's just take a couple of your tweets before we get back to the phone lines. Honorable Adimolaki Vanga says, we dread and wish against the second wave of this pandemic, but it appears it is here. Our consolation is that the vaccine is almost ready. Please join us to wish our principal. Okay. I don't know. Okay, it is your birthday. Okay, we say happy birthday to you. Akorede Camille says, it's just that I can't get tired of educating people in the neighborhood. But from the feedbacks I get, many still believe that COVID-19 Nigeria is a mirage. How close are we to getting the new vaccine? He asks. Well, a lot of work going on. We got the information from UK. They gave their first jabs a couple of days
even
back.
Okonjo-Iweala has assured developing countries, especially Nigeria.
Taiwo Tolulokwe says, I want to get crashed this morning because what I would like to discuss is not here in the media. Can the state government give rational justification as to why first-time examination commence in public schools without printed question papers? I heard some stories about that as well. I'm curious. It says, Edwin Abayomi says, I'm curious, has any state government or even the FG account for how much we spent on the first wave of the pandemic? Ayon Toyibo says, borrowing from pension funds is another heinous corruption. It's a way to endanger the future of the civil workers. When it is not borrowed, the government owe pensioners. What will now happen if it is borrowed, especially by this untrustworthy government, he says. Paul Oni says, the future of the people is seriously threatened these days. The debt being piled up is unprecedented. Now is the pension, 17 trillion naira, and unclaimed dividends. That's their target. Yet, with all these borrowings, we don't have development like in Dubai, says Gary of Nigeria. I don't know why Dubai. Mr. Oni is in love with Dubai. Critical Scorpio says, the constitution gave the lacuna for the president not to attend. Says, I think we have a lot to learn from Ghana. Okay. Taiwo Tolulokwe goes on to say, all he said to test the constitutionality of President Buhari's non-appearance at the House. Unfortunately, the head of the judicial arm of government is likely to be on the side of the executive, considering how the executive pampered him to office last year, it says. Olakomilari says, too much talk about restructuring will yield no positive results under these current governors, who their stock in trade is misgovernance and reckless spending. Giving them more money will only be tantamount to enriching them with public funds, he says. Anyway, it turns out we might not be able to get back to the phone lines. Well, that's as much as we will take this morning. Just before I wrap things up this morning, I should very quickly say thank you, of course, for your contributions. Every time we come here this morning, talk about the dailies, get your thoughts. These are things that we want to continue to do, and we totally need everyone's cooperation to be able to achieve this every day, because we try so hard to make sure no one is insultive, try so hard to make sure there's no name calling, try so hard to make sure no one is giving false information, but we need your help as well to do this. And a number of people talk about they don't get the chance to call in, so sometimes we have calls cut short, especially when people have made their point. A number of times you find callers, they've made their point in about a minute. They go around in circles saying the same thing. So sometimes you find out that, you are eased out and then other people are allowed in. And, as far as opinions and people talking about other people's opinion, I remember yesterday someone was talking about Waheed. Someone spoke about religion, and Waheed said, Mr. Waheed said, religion is not the problem. We should be careful what we say. He was still in his very right to talk about that. Right. But trust us not to allow people ridicule or, insult anyone. That is what we will not do. Thank you for your contributions. Mr. Aino, thank you for being a part of the program.
Thanks for having me.
This morning. That's Freshly Pressed this morning. I love you guys. Enjoy your morning. Bye for now.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas from your favorite radio station.
Fresh 107.9 FM.
Okile falafala. Ìdẹ̀gbẹ̀dẹ̀ rédíò. Gbọ́ òṣì tó ṣe ti bí ìwúfà.
Fresh 107.9 FM.
Lábẹ́ Olúmọ, ó ṣe dáadáa gan.
Check it out.
This is the station for that R&B you know, love, and want.
R&B is what we do.
This is